Good evening and welcome to the Coffeyville City Commission meeting for Tuesday, July 25th. Tonight's invocation will be led by Pastor Pat O'Connor of Agape Fellowship Church. Please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Lord, we pray that you would just help us as we seek to do the work of this city. Pray that you would lead us and guide us and help us to make the decisions that would benefit everyone. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll move into the consent agenda. Item 1, City Commission meeting minutes for Tuesday, July 11th, 2017. 2017 appropriation ordinance number AO-17-14 in the amount of $4,565,539.20. A resolution number R-17-49, a resolution to execute an assignment agreement with Sega Inc. and Power Engineers for engineering services for the electric utility. Action to appoint Mike Shook and Kendall Francis to a 2-year term on the KMGA Board of Directors serving to August 31st, 2019, and to approve a cereal malt beverage license for Easy Stop and Go at 1308 West 8th Street. Are there any questions or amendments to these consent agenda items?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion was made by Commissioner Martin and seconded by Commissioner Williams to approve the consent agenda as presented. Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
On old business, resolution number R-17-43, a resolution to amend the procurement policy for the city of Coffeyville. This time I'll make a motion to take the table resolution number R-17-43, a resolution to amend the procurement policy for the city of Coffeyville. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion was made by Mayor Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Martin to take from the table resolution number R-17-43, a resolution to amend the procurement policy for the city of Coffeyville. Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Martin.
This is to approve.
This is just to take it from
Yeah,
the
okay,
table.
yes, aye. Sorry, I got confused a second.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye. All aye also.
All aye.
So, resolution R-17-43, a resolution to amend the procurement policy for the city of Coffeyville. Finance Director Stephanie Richardson will make comments.
Mayor and Commissioners, good evening. This evening, I have brought back the procurement policy. You had given me some direction on some other items that you would like to see changed. One of those is the city manager's emergency limit. That resulted in 2 changes in the policy. The first one would be in section 5 for change orders, where we included the sentence, the city manager shall only execute an emergency change order if the work qualifies as an emergency and does not exceed $50,000 is the piece that was added from the last meeting. It also resulted in a change in the emergency purchases section, section 11, which reads the city manager shall not execute an emergency purchase if the work qualifies. Let me back up. The city manager shall only execute an emergency purchase if the work qualifies as an emergency and does not exceed $50,000. The next change was on the local business preference limits. We did poll some other local or some other Kansas communities, and I added a table in the staff report showing the number of communities that responded and what their limits were. We found anywhere from communities that had no limit to communities that had a 10% limit. So that's kind of the information we found out from other communities. And then item number 6 on the subcontractor insurance and licensing requirements. I checked with our insurance agent that carries the city's policies, as well as the consultant that we use to bid out all of our policies. and included their comments in your agenda package. Both of those recommended that we do have subcontractor insurance and licensing for city projects as protection for the city. If you have any questions or comments, other changes, I'd be happy to address those.
So currently, the subcontractors are not required to have insurance, correct?
The way the policy is written currently,
Currently,
that's
yeah.
not in the policy, right?
So let's say they mess something up, who does that go on? Does it currently go on the contractor that,
If there's a general contract, yeah,
so they're essentially already covered, but through the general contractor?
right.
Okay. What, so now, city manager can spend, in the event of emergency, $50,000, but before it was, if it didn't exceed 80%, what happened to, so now if the project's 40,000, he can spend the whole amount of the project?
We took out the overall project budget is not exceeded. In some of our projects that we do, in talking with, like Chuck Shively, some of those projects we bring to you, project budget, we approve separate contracts. So any change order would exceed the amount of the overall project cost. In the event of, like, the power plant, we did approve an overall project budget of the 58 million, so that wording didn't really fit in every case after talking with staff some more.
And on the local procurement policy, 7 cities had no limit to however much the amount was, correct?
Right. They
So-
well, they have no limit as to, there's no preference given to a local community
Oh, okay.
business.
That's all I got for now.
So, it's my understanding that if the total amount of the project is less than $50,000, under this policy that you're proposing, what does that allow an expenditure, an emergency expenditure to be?
In the change order instance,
Yes. Or an emergency exchange order, right?
the way it's written, it would not exceed 50,000. If the project was 40, this would essentially give him authority for another 50 if, the way it's written right now. But it would have to qualify as an emergency. And in the change order section, all of those come back to the commission for ratification.
At the next available meeting.
Right.
Gentlemen?
I got a couple questions.
Go ahead.
The 3 cities that were 10%, do you know who those were? Were they
Let me look.
very small cities? I'd like to,
Cherryville, Neodesha, and Hillsborough.
okay. And the ones that had no limits, the 7, were they bigger ones?
Edwardsville, Manhattan, Russell, Newton, Seneca, Salina, and I think Caney does not have a policy on.
Yeah. You know, you guys know how I feel about this. I think it's best in the city's interest, the city, not the contractors, the city's interest, if we go to, I like the, you know, I can't vote hardly to go more than 2% myself. And not to exceed 5,000. I like that one. I mean, that's kind of splitting the baby. I would like to, I think I've said this before, I want to make sure whatever we do, if we are going to give them a preference, that we let the contractors that are bidding it know about it. in the bid package. I'd like to get some language in there. And I don't know that we've done that. I know it's on the website, somebody said. And it's available if they dig enough, but you know, I'm a contractor and I bid jobs and I'm good with zero, okay? I think you can be more competitive. You've got a 5% advantage because you're in town. And I've said it before, I'd like to see us drop that from 5 to at least 2, if none. I mean, I could probably vote for 2. And back to this $50,000, item number 3, I don't quite understand why we're doing that. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but we really haven't had to do that in the past. And we went up to 25,000 from 10,000. And I think, to me, we ought to be able to call the commissioners. I mean, I got my phone on 724. I don't know why we can't talk about it. I don't, has there been an issue, Kendall, that we needed to do that on besides the deal at the power plant? I mean, with the power plant thing, we've got big bond, we got a lot of money in that, $70 million project. I could see a $50 million deal on a deal like that. But just for every day, I don't know why we can't get a hold of the commissioners right quick. You know, that's my opinion on that one. I don't know what you guys think, but we've talked about it a little bit before. We don't get a chance really to talk during the week unless we want to call one another, and that doesn't seem to happen.
Yeah.
You know, because of the Kansas Open Meetings Act, everybody's about half scared of it. So,
I'm with you on the 25,000. I don't know why we need to exceed 25,000. I'd like to see examples where we've had an emergency situation where we've had, I think that came up in the last meeting, and it happened one time, and it was on the new generation power plant. You had to do something, and it was above 20,000 or somewhere in that neighborhood, and then it was reconvened. But I guess the part that I question is more, as much as that, is the not to exceed 50,000. So if you have a $50,000 budget, and you're gonna come in at 45,000, but it gives our city manager the ability to go up to 95,000. That's, I mean, you've doubled what our original budget had been, and I think when we're setting budgets, that's what a whole budget is set for, is so that we have checks and balances to make sure that we're doing the right things, and we're not adding things to the scope of the project after we get started, unless we have to. I mean, and I get that sometimes we do, but my opinion is that part needs to stay in there. That's just that's my feeling.
the 25, you mean?
No, right here, where they took out the overall project budget is not exceeded. So if you have a $45,000, if you have a $50,000 budget and you come in at 45,000, all of a sudden you have an emergency come in and you could go up to 95,000, which you basically doubled the amount of your budget.
Something to the effect of 50,000 or the project budget, whichever is less.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was going. You don't want to, we're not going to top out the budget without reconvening with the commission and saying, hey, we've ran into X, Y, and Z problems, and it's going to cost X, Y, and Z to fix these problems. So we need to reconvene. We need to get together for a quick call or meeting, and we can approve it if it's that essential.
Is this been, and this requires just has this been a big problem that we're having all these emergencies and?
I didn't
Yeah.
say that it's been a big problem. I mean,
But
but
what-
when we're redoing this policy, we thought it was proper to put in.
So what drove it? Anything drive it?
Well, that was my question. Maybe I
Right,
didn't
right. No,
answer.
I was getting ready to ask it,
That,
you,
that was my question.
asked
Other
it.
than it
Same
wasn't,
que- same
other than it
question,
wasn't
really.
addressed in the procurement policy, and when we're making those changes, we
Right.
thought it appropriate
Okay.
to address it.
Okay, my memory, there is I don't know if who was on at the time, but there was a time where the police department found a good buy on a vehicle, and it came across that they needed an emergency to be able to get it, and it wouldn't have been in time, and it got let loose. Anybody recall that?
I remember talk of it, I don't know that I can say that I
We've
remember
had
it
that
happening.
situation, trying to purchase used vehicles before.
Yeah, there was one that was a good deal, and I can't remember what it was. It was a while ago. I don't remember how long ago. I remember we were here in the building, but we've been here for a long time, so that doesn't say anything. I want to keep it at 25 thousand, I don't see a whole lot of need. And if there is a problem, you can just call us. I don't, like I said, I believe in checks and balances, and 25,000 is enough for me.
Okay.
I mean,
So we've got, sound like we're all together on that 25,000, I guess.
Well, I guess I'll round up where I'm at, and you guys can decide to vote if you want. I'm with you, I don't want to change the emergency purchases at all. I think it needs to stay the way it is. As far as the subcontractor insurance requirements,
Can we let-
I feel like we're already putting a little bit of a burden on the little man trying to get on if he's already covered underneath the contractor's insurance. I think we're putting more language in there that's already took care of. And the local procurement, hold on, Jim, and the local procurement policy, I understand what you're trying to say. Local guy has an advantage, he's already mobilized, he's here, he doesn't have to move, I get that. But at the same time, I feel like it's my duty to make sure that I take care of the people of Coffey's money, and I think that the money should stay at home as much as possible. So, you know, I'd like to see it raised, but the current proposal that it is now, I wouldn't vote for this, so.
You also need to remember, it's not just for projects, it's for goods and services where mobilization doesn't
that's
come
what
into
I was-
play.
Well, I understand that, but I mean, I believe that if a business here in town can provide the service, there has to be somewhat of a, I mean, you can't pay a local guy $2 million over, I mean, there is a point, but that's just my feeling, and I'm done. I'll be ready to vote whenever you guys want to.
On the subcontractor issue, James Charlesworth does include a section in here about that there was a time that general contractor liability policy would automatically include subs. That those rules have changed and they don't automatically include them. Many policies don't anymore. But it's, the city wouldn't know whether it automatically covers them or not. if
Could
don't
we
have-
not write up our contracts to say that you're responsible for all your subcontractors'
Right.
work? I mean, that way when they bid the job, they
The
understand.
subcontractors are oftentimes your trades, your plumbing
Mm-hmm.
and your electrical. We want to make sure that they are all licensed. You don't want a non-licensed electrician doing your electrical work on a city project.
Well, lots of
So
times.
this requires them to show that they are actual electricians, actual plumbers, the HVAC.
So the license is one element, the insurance is another element.
Correct.
In order to get a license, they have to have insurance.
It's another way to get a
And we
a
also
fee.
want to make sure they have their work comp insurance.
Right.
So if we just say in the language, they're licensed, and we have something in the contract, look more to Paul, if we have something in the contract that they're responsible and it's their duty to make sure they've got the right insurance, we should be covered.
You can certainly put that on the general contractor. I think the coverage requirement for licensing is probably less at times than we would want for the contracts we award to a general contractor on a bigger project.
Okay, you've got me a little confused, say that one.
Well, I'm saying if a
Underinsured.
plumber, in order to be licensed, has to have some sort of insurance, but I don't know that the coverage would be sufficient for some of the projects that the plumber would be working on for the city.
Because we require $1 million if you're
Oh, it's
working,
$1 million.
$1 million if you're working on a city project.
Right. The concern is being underinsured, right?
Yes.
That's where we're at.
Right.
So we're getting into contract language, legal stuff here. So if our general contractor has the coverage by law and by contract, are we covered? Because we go back to him, and then it'd be up to the general contractor to get with that plumber and work it out with them and get his, we would sue or claim damages to the general contractor, and then they would owe us. I mean, it's like when you're paying bills somewhat.
We could certainly require the general contractor to bear that burden of making sure that subs are insured, or have their work covered under that contractor's insurance in some manner.
And that's, that they should do their due diligence and make sure they've got the insurance. If they're liable for up to $1 million worth of plumbing damage, you would think that general contractor would make sure they had a certificate from the sub. I mean, I've done a little bit of that, but it's every time you do it, you gotta relook at it, you know? I mean, it just on and on, but,
I think the main thing for the city is it just wants to make sure that the people that are doing the work are bonded and insured.
well, most of them aren't bonded. I can tell you that. Insurance, that's another issue. I mean, you know, as a contractor, I've only bonded 3 jobs in my life out of a jillion. So that's a whole nother deal. Now, when you build something, you get into your bonding a little more. Your projects, your bigger projects, but we're not asking for bonding, are we?
No.
Okay.
That's gonna turn on a situation by situation
Okay.
basis.
So where we're at now, we've all agreed on the $25,000 deal. Now we're talking about this contractor issue. Have we had any issues that drove this issue as far as the subcontractors being,
No, but why would we set ourselves up to take a loss?
well, it's all about economics and,
And economics of the
Right,
city,
right.
protecting the city's economics
well,
as
are we
well.
protected under the contract with the general contractor? Are we protected?
And there is no guarantee, right now, I don't know that that's a guarantee.
Well,
Yeah.
moving forward, could we write the contracts, Paul, to protect ourselves in this situation?
Yes.
Thanks.
So
I
we're
think that's what we
protected.
need to do, is
You know?
write them to where they're in our best interest.
I don't know how much insurance these local plumbers and electricians have. Be curious to know.
And this is only in a subcontractor, because if they are the prime contractor, we do require that they provide $1 million worth of insurance
Right.
and be licensed. And there's no reason we should back off of that.
No, we're not wanting to back off of that. I'm not, anyway.
No,
Well, and
absolutely
then-
not.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Sitting here listening to this conversation, and I'm thinking if I'm building a house, I probably want all my subcontractors to be, at least have some type of insurance to.
They won't be able to pull an electrical permit if they're not a licensed electrician.
Right, I'd like to have them to have some type of insurance or something. I would certainly want anybody like me showing up to do my work, because you, at least you know that they've taken the initiative to go out and get insurance, so you know that they're pretty much legit. So I would say that in this case, I think it's in the best interest of the city to have those people have some type of proof of insurance. I think that that's just, you know, and I understand I understand Commissioner Martin's argument, but unfortunately, one of our objectives is to look out for the best interest economically for the city, and I think this is unfortunately, yeah, it may prevent some smaller people from being involved in the project, but I think overall it makes sense that we do it.
And our locals are already licensed. Your
And I
trades.
think too, this is more geared towards the fly-by-night folks that come from out of town that do things. That's my opinion, so I'm for that. The 5%, you know, if you wanna go 3%, 2%, not to exceed $5,000, I'm fine with that. I think that this is a whole lot of, I'm not real for sure what prompted this, reviewing this procurement policy, because if I remember correctly, we went through this same type of back and forth the last time and came up with a kind of a meet in the middle type of situation. I think I'm looking forward to
Okay.
meeting in the middle today.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. We're bouncing back and forth.
Yep.
I
We got
think
3 subjects that we're talking
Right.
about, right?
Well, I'm just ready to
Right,
move forward
right,
with the, having the people contracted or insured, the 25,000, and what you suggested at the 2%, not to exceed 5,000.
Okay, we're all on page for the 25,000. I
I'm
think
good
we're
with
all
that.
there.
Yeah.
And then we're going back, I mean, I can't vote for more than 2%. You guys, you can talk about it some more. You're 2, I'm 2. We got 2 of us that's in agreement with that. It's kind of splitting the baby. I'd just soon do 0, but I'm good with 2, because I understand Justin's point and the reasoning for it. Back to the issue that Cindy says, we gotta make sure they're licensed. Well, yes, we know they're licensed too. That's not an issue. Where are you guys at? How do you feel about making them have $1 million? You know, it's.
I think you might be surprised.
In order to get a license, they have to have $1 million.
Yes, I think you would be
insurance
surprised.
Okay,
policy.
well, I didn't know that.
Right, because
Okay.
I have to work in that area quite a bit, and they have to have a lot of
That's
insurance to
standard.
come on
That-
certain
that-
things, yeah.
that's standard.
It's a pretty
Okay.
standard
Okay, I'm with
liability
you, I'm
insurance
with
that
you.
they have.
So
I
we're
don't know if
really
it's $1
not.
million, but I know it's
So
considerable.
Justin, doesn't sound like there's really an issue there, based on that. And I can tell you, we're gonna hear about it in the future if it does, and we can always come back on a certain project, and which it probably won't happen, because it's just not worth all that red tape, and make an adjustment, circumstantial adjustment, I guess, but that's another issue, another can of worms. But Justin, are you with us now? I mean, it sounds like they
Sounds like
have
it's
to have
already-
the $1 million. I didn't know
Sounds
that.
like to me it's already took care of. I don't understand
Yeah.
why we're
Yeah.
changing it, so.
So I think the only point is the 2%, 5%, where are we at with,
Right.
where are we at with that? Because,
With
you know,
what?
where are we at in agreement with the 2% not to exceed the 5,000, or 5% not to exceed the 5,000? Currently, we said at 5% not to exceed 5,000, right? Isn't that the way it sits?
Well, that was our first, what we brought
Right.
for the first recommendation. And so to reach 5,000, that would have to be a $100,000 project.
Right.
So 2% and 5,000, it would have to be a $250,000 project to reach that $5,000 limit.
So we know Justin's at 5%, you two are at 2.
I'm actually higher, but,
Right.
you know.
Where you
Well, I'm
at, Mark?
lower, so but we're all negotiating and somewhat talking what we can agree on.
I'm
You
fine
know.
with 2. I mean, it doesn't,
I'm not opposed to 2, I'm just concerned, just like Justin is, that you're gonna take the purchasing ability away from local. That's what we're gonna lose, is the ability locally,
Yeah.
when we're out trying to buy something, to compete with your Tulsa, or your Wichita, or your Joplin.
So let's meet.
When you're
So-
talking retail,
Okay.
you're not gonna compete with the big boys.
Right.
When you're a small business owner.
I
mean,
I would be,
I could do that.
why don't we go with 3%?
Can we-
Why don't we go with
that-
He beat us
3%?
to it, he said it.
let's-
Did you?
Yeah, he beat you to
Let's
it.
settle on 3% and move on.
Okay,
3% not to exceed
I can vote for
5,000?
that.
All right. And the only other part that I still think we should leave in there is the overall project budget should not be exceeded without commission approval.
Concur.
I had Kendall's, city manager shall only execute an emergency change order if the work qualifies as an emergency, does not exceed 25,000, or the overall project budget, whichever is less.
That's
Is
correct.
that good?
Yep. I'll make a motion to approve Resolution R-17-43.
With
for
those
adoption.
changes.
With those changes.
Right.
second.
Motion was made by Mayor Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Castler to approve resolution number R-17-43 for adoption with the changes as we have discussed. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Martin.
No.
Moving on to ordinance.
Just add, is it okay, what don't you like about that?
I just explained all of it, Jim.
Yeah.
I mean, I really did.
We
I
were
just
bouncing
explained it.
around a lot. You like the more 5%, you good with everything else?
No, I voted no. Let's move on. We can talk
Okay.
about it later.
Okay.
Ordinance number G-17-03, a second reading of an ordinance to amend municipal court cost. No changes from first reading.
I Make a motion to approve ordinance number G 1703.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Williams and seconded by Commissioner Martin to approve ordinance number G-17-03 for adoption. Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Going to group the next two together. Resolution number R-17-50, a resolution to approve amendment number 2 with Algier Martin and Associates for construction engineering services for the 2016-17 Clink project. And resolution number R-17-51, a resolution to approve amendment 1 with Algier Martin and Associates for construction engineering services for 11th Street reconstruction project. Engineering Superintendent Thomas Osborne will make comments. H1 and H2 are addressed in the same staff report.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. The reason these are combined is they are literally in the same project area. There's just two different funding sources required, so that's why there's requiring two different agreements. This is the Clink, which goes from Buckeye Street all the way to the railroad overpass for doing joint reconstruction, minus that roughly 600 feet at Lewark Street. This covers the construction engineering, so we'll have on-site testing of concrete, as well as just making sure everything's set up correctly, traffic control, all that. That covers all of those, as well as the testing for all the installation on the stormwater inlets and everything as well.
So are they gonna cut chunks out
Yeah.
like they did before?
Joint reconstruction, yep.
How
So
much?
that usually, we found that we can get the drill to do the dowels for the replacement, to dowel in the replacement concrete section at 5-foot widths.
Okay.
So as small as 5 foot and gets larger from there.
Any other questions?
Nope.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number R-17-50 and R-17-51 for adoption.
Second.
Motion was made by Mayor Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Martin to approve resolutions number R-17-50 and resolution number R-17-51 for adoption. Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye. Resolution number R-17-52, a resolution to approve a final quantity change order for the 2016 intersection improvement project with Jeff Graham Construction. Engineering Superintendent Thomas Osborne will make comments.
Thank you again. This final quantity change orders for the 2016 intersections. That would be 8th and Washita, 2nd and Grant, Wilshire and Fairway, and 14th and Atlantic. For the most part, all these changes in quantities come from either the thickness of the pavement at 8th and Washita, where we literally doubled, had to pull up twice the amount of pavement than we thought we was going to have to just connecting sidewalks to make sure that they're ADA from our ADA sidewalk to the non-ADA existing sidewalk. Making those connections, sometimes they have to be longer out just so that we're not causing tripping hazards. You have to answer any questions.
I have no questions. No one has any questions. I move to approve the resolution 17-52.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Williams and seconded by Commissioner Martin to approve resolution number R-17-52 for adoption. Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Resolution number R-17-53, a resolution to execute the FAA grant for taxiway improvements at the municipal airport. Engineering Superintendent Thomas Osborne will make comments.
Thank you again. We have received from the FAA the formal grant offer for reconstructing the taxiway between the 1735 runway and the end of runway 22, which is the crosswind runway. This is for full depth reclamation. The grant is a 90-10 match. So, and then we had, again, this is where the project where we got additional funds from, I can't remember the name of the town.
Yep.
But another town in Kansas. It's, something. Smith Center, I believe, yeah. Smith Center, Kansas.
We talked about it.
Yep.
So, this is the formal grant offer to be able to do that project. Be happy to answer any questions.
Questions?
No questions, I'd make a motion to approve R-17-53 for adoption.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Taylor and seconded by Mayor Bauer to approve resolution number R-17-53 for adoption. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Popular tonight, Thomas. Resolution number R-17-54, resolution to approve authorization number 2 with Burns and McDonald for construction engineering on the taxiway improvement project. Engineering Superintendent Thomas Osborne will make comments.
Thank you again. This is for the construction engineering for the project that we just discussed. They'd be on-site anytime that the contractor's working. Burns and McDonald will have a engineer here. They'll do testing for compaction, materials testing, making sure everything's set up right and so that we operate safely while the runway or the airport will still be open during most of the construction. So we want to make sure all the proper markings are put up as well. So be happy to answer any questions. This is covered in the grant as well, the funds for this.
Questions?
No questions. Now I'll make another motion to approve R-17-54 for adoption.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Taylor and seconded by Mayor Bauer to approve resolution number R-17-54 for adoption. Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye. Resolution number R-17-55, a resolution to execute a construction agreement with Donaldson and Construction for street and parking lot surface seal. Engineering Superintendent Thomas Osborne will make comments.
Thank you again. This is the 2017 surface seal project, which includes approximately 125 blocks of city streets, as well as 3 parking lots, and plus the finishing off of the very south part of 10th Street where we couldn't get asphalt in time for last year's project. And then as well as covering and resurface sealing the City Hall municipal building parking lots, so they'll be ready to restripe for when we're going back, hopefully very early next year. It's the sole source Donaldson product. It's the only company that can make it. We've looked at multiple surface seals over and just can't find anything that adheres and wears like this. We're getting several 5 or 6 years of life and we're expecting more. So be happy to answer any questions on this. This is, just want to say, this is just a wearing surface, seals the street up, protects the street sub base. It will smooth out some bumps, but for the most part, all it is it's just sealing the street and giving you new friction surface.
So
Go ahead.
I have one question. So we're gonna reseal behind Chick's Coop in between the hotel, that parking
Yeah,
lot
that-
there, correct?
That, what, the
Big.
fourth
Yeah, but behind.
section down there.
Right.
that
I
wasn't
don't know
used
exactly
for-
what it's called. You had
Yeah,
it as
10th Street
section.
parking lot.
Right, yep. So we have a lot of trash cans that sit back there. I don't know, Justin probably knows the quantity. I think maybe he counted them one day. But I think it's pretty tore up back there along where they store those trash cans from those trucks going in and out of there.
Yes, there was a lot of, the trash trucks do wear a lot of our streets as well,
Yep.
caused by the trash trucks.
What are we gonna do to alleviate that? Because to-
Can I interject here real
Sure.
quick? And I don't mean to, but I'll tell you what we're gonna do. What we can do is, that's our parking lot, right?
Yeah,
Belongs to the city of Coffeyville.
correct.
Okay. Those trash cans need to be at the end of the very south side. That way those trucks are, because at first they were up on the very north end. The trucks were rolling up and down through there, tearing up the parking lot. Now they're in the middle. Trucks are rolling up and down there, tearing up that part of the parking lot. They need to be put at the very end. That way they're going to just left there. Otherwise, they don't need to be in the parking lot. That can be solved with a letter to the businesses. That's what the direction of the city should be. That's where, so now that's solved. Other thing is that last year, we refused to do that first part of the parking lot without having the rest of the medians and all that other things repaired. That should go the very same way this year. We need not be spending money on parking lots if we're not gonna do them right, and we're not gonna do them correctly, and that means that we have to repair the chunks of the missing medians and repair all the cracks. And I believe last year we had them go back and redo some of it because of the damage to the parking lot, and we didn't get it prepared properly to throw that seal stuff down on it, so they had to go back and do it. So it needs to be a priority, and I said this last year, that's what we do, and that we fix these parking lots, the chunks of the concrete, the curbs, and all that other stuff, just like we did last year, and I'm sure everybody here will agree, I would hope.
Yeah.
Well, I don't remember talking about it, but Thomas, have you looked at what Chris is talking about?
Yeah,
I mean-
there was a couple of utility cuts, and they came back at, it was at Donaldson's expense before they even left, just to get those filled in, make sure that they were.
Okay, to me, it looks like two different issues.
No,
The
I-
concrete is
Yeah.
kind of one
And
issue.
the surface seal, if we get it down, we're protecting the 90% of the parking lot.
Is
And
it-
then we're using city crews, what's the plan to go back and fix the curbs.
Right.
All that can be taken care of after the seal's down.
That's not how we did it last year, am I correct?
At
We did it at the same time.
We had asphalt for the main parking lot was done before, and then we did island and concrete was, we did that afterwards with city crews.
Okay, and is that gonna be what we do this time?
Would probably have to be,
Yeah.
I honestly haven't looked at the islands on the south end of that parking lot to know
Okay,
what
but
kind of
but
condition
there's, we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4 different parking lots with four.
Most
all
of the
kinds
parking lots don't actually have islands in them. It's,
But they're surrounded by curbing,
yeah, some of them are.
okay.
So the
Well, here's the thing is, I'm not gonna spend money on parking lots if we're not gonna do them right. Otherwise, we should take that money and spend them on the streets.
I agree. If we're not gonna do it right, then we need to do it right the first time, so we don't have to come back and do it a second time.
And that means
Well-
that means just like we did last time, fixing the islands. I mean, go look at the parking lot down there on where they did a lot of work. It looks real nice. But the rest of these parking lots, if we're not gonna do them right, then we're just sitting here we're just throwing money out there.
Well, this thing's packaged up with the streets, the parking lots, municipal building. And to me, you've got the curbs as a whole different issue. Is that
The
kind of
curbs can
correct?
be taken care of.
Right, okay, so now the curbs are talking about. Back to the surface.
Mhm.
Is it okay, or the surfaces, because we haven't looked at them, the city manager.
We definitely want the driving surfaces
Right.
to be prepared.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that being looked at,
Correctly.
Thomas? Where are we at on that?
I'm not, Jim's been looking at them with public service.
They're actually preparing those, I was told today that they're
Good.
preparing some of those sections of the streets.
So that'll be
Yeah, so
prepared,
they're-
to when
yeah.
they get here, they just put it over,
That's the correct, yeah.
okay? So it sounds like we're good, Chris.
No, we're not. We're not good
Well,
at
we're
all.
not good.
We're not good at all.
Where am I off here?
The thing is that we have, these parking lots have, some of them have islands in them, some of them don't. The thing is go look at the repairs that we've done on the parking lot behind the 100 block of West Ninth. And all those, whether they're done at the same time or afterwards, if we're gonna spend money on parking lots, then we need to do them right. Otherwise, we need to take that money that we're spending on the parking lots, and we need to put that money back into our streets, and we need to pay more, we need to take care of more streets, because there's a lot of folks that live on these streets that have never had look at all these streets that haven't been done. I can go down the list of streets that haven't been done, but we're spending money on parking lots to halfway do them.
Okay, well, Thomas, you've looked at it, right? You've taken a good look at it.
They should be able to be sealed. All the curb and gutter, it's a lot more economical for us to do it in-house. It could be done after the street seal, or the parking lot has been taken care of. But by covering and sealing the parking lot, we're taking care of 90% of the surface that's there. And then the other 10% with city crews can come back in and take care of them. get
That's
those
my
set up.
question. Are you going to do it?
That would be the plan, yes.
Okay.
Justin,
That's
you
not the question. Are we going to take care of that? It's a yes or
Talk about it in the
no.
comment section.
I think we would take care of everything that would need to be repaired. Now, you have to be mindful, we're not fixing the curbs on the streets.
Well, that was gonna be my next part that I brought up.
You know,
Is
and-
that we should be fixing the curbs as well.
I would agree that we should be. But the funding simply isn't there to do that.
Okay, so
And-
basically, we're just patching,
We're sealing the driving surfaces is what we're doing.
okay.
Yeah, ideally, we should probably be milling some of these streets down and rebuilding curbs so that we have drainage again.
Then why aren't we? Why are we?
And
Because we don't have the money.
We've done 9th Street was a mill and overlay, we redid all the curb and gutters. Wilshire, we did a mill, we redid the curb and gutters. We have those projects, and they're planned, and we're looking at where we can do those, and we have a set funding source for them.
I think it's a great
But
idea
it
that
is,
we're taking
it's
care
a,
of our
we're
streets.
taking a lot more streets, take care of a lot more streets than we can do curb and gutter.
I think that it's a great idea that we're taking care of all our streets, but one year we do it one way, the next year we do it a different way, the year after that, we do it another way. There's no consistency. So the thing is what we're gonna do is that this year last year we're gonna fix all these chunks of broken up concrete and stuff like that in the parking lots. This year, we're gonna do more parking lots, but we may or may not get to it because no one can give us an answer whether we're going to. It's gonna, and I'm not trying to poke at you, but it may seem that way, but that's in the plan. Well, we're either gonna do it or we're not. And the thing is that it just seems to me that we are non-consistent with how we repair things. And it is, I think it's,
If there is,
we've got to be consistent and do the same thing. Either we're going to repair it or we're not.
if there's islands that need repaired, we will repair them.
That's what I needed to
Yeah.
know. Okay.
So along with maintenance of all that, I remember years ago where you walked in that parking lot and there were weeds growing up higher than we allow our citizens to have. I remember a time when this doesn't have to do with the parking lot, but City Hall had some low-hanging tree limbs that probably should have been cut that could, that we require citizens to take care of. Are we gonna make sure that that's taken care of this time and not have it look like it used to?
Not sure which weeds
Hmm?
that,
I'm not sure about the trees, the
Yeah, you're-
weeds,
Well, I'm
but
talking
we
about
want,
the trees over there on the City Hall side. That's beyond the parking
On
lot. When you first came
kind
here,
of be the north-south alley. on
yeah,
the
no, I'm
west
talking
side
about
of the
over on
parking.
this, the street over here, there's an overhanging tree that
Need to.
had low hanging limbs. That has nothing to do with that. What I'm
Well-
talking about
I'm-
is, in this parking lot over here, there used to be very high weeds that was not taken care of. And I really don't wanna see,
We don't want to see that either.
well, but it
Staff-
got that way.
staff
And if
knows
we're
better
gonna
than
do
to
something
allow.
where we're going after these citizens for having high grass, and we have high grass, something that Justin touched on a lot, we can't be imperative to our own laws, and city buildings cannot have high grass, and they cannot have this things, and I don't wanna see that, that's my deal.
Well, isn't that a different issue than what
Well,
we're talking about?
well, but it's maintenance of parking lots.
I think we're all talking about general maintenance of the city. And the other thing is too, is I just want to say, no, we don't want to sit up here and make folks that are in the 100 block of Ninth carry their trash out further. That's not the goal. The goal is keep the the parking lots from being destroyed by the city, by the heavy trash trucks that have to roll down through there and pick up those dumpsters. If,
Well, there's somewhat of an engineering element to that, and I know a little bit about it, but you guys have looked at the engineering side of that, and I know that the restaurants are gonna not be happy about it, because they're gonna have to get a pickup or a big wheelbarrow or something. And I don't have a problem with that if the trucks are tearing it up, because I don't know how that's engineered, that parking lot. I know 99 out of 100 parking lots aren't built to carry trucks,
Yeah, not that road anyway.
you know? So I don't have a problem with that. We probably ought to talk to the city, probably ought to talk to them about it, you know?
I think that they sent them a letter just explaining that, you know, hey, we're not doing this just because we,
Right.
whatever, there's a purpose behind it. And if we want our parking lots to be
Right.
here for the foreseeable future, this is the decisions we have to make.
Can you see, have you looked at it, Thomas, where the truck goes in and picks up the dumpster?
Over time, it does rut. I haven't been down there recently.
Is it dishing it out?
Again, haven't
I
been
think
down
in
there.
some cases it is.
Some
When I drove
cases it
through there, I
might.
don't, that's not something specifically that I was looking
Right,
for when I
right.
was driving through there, but I would say in some cases, yes, that would be a correct statement. And I'm right on line with what Chris said. If we're gonna if we're gonna cover them, we might as well fix all the broken sidewalk concrete too. And, you know, just commit to it all and do it the right way. And it's not saying that we have to go in and tear them all out and do them all at one time, but we need to have a plan to start fixing them little by little and just getting it done.
And we didn't tear anything out last time. It's just the
Right, just
chunks and
patching
stuff,
and-
right, you know.
Right.
And
So,
Okay, any more questions? If there's not any questions, I'll make a motion to approve R-17-55 for adoption.
Second. Thank you, Tom.
Motion was made by Commissioner Taylor and seconded by Commissioner Martin to approve resolution number R-17-55 for adoption. Commissioner Castler.
aye.
Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, Thomas.
Resolution number R-17-56, a resolution to purchase the 2016 Dodge Alltech 5500 aerial bucket truck for the electric utility. Electric Utility Deputy Director Mike Shook will make comments.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. This is a vehicle replacement, Unit 1308. It's our trouble truck. This truck's in use daily. Our troubleshooter uses this truck. He responds to outages during the day. Often after hours, this truck is the first truck out also. We started experiencing some mechanical issues with this truck. It's got an international engine, and this truck has, these type of engines have had a history of having issues. We reached out to Alltech, that's who we purchased this truck from. They informed us, and we've checked with some other mechanics, these engines do have issues. And through that dialogue, Alltech offered us a 2016 Dodge 550, same working height, 41 feet, with a material handler. They brought that in, we were allowed to demo that unit for a week. After it left here, I believe it went to a cooperative up by Neota Shea, and they had it for a week. We told them we had interest in this truck. Alltech has offered the truck to us for $10,000 below the normal price. It's got less than 7,000 miles on it. They would have priced this directly to a customer at $134,000. They've offered it to us at $124,000. And then we've had some add-ons that go lights, work lights on the front and back, wire rack in the back, ladder rack on the side. Our plan for the current truck that we have, which has actually been taken out of service for about 2 months, so we're afraid to use it, afraid we might tear it up or we couldn't get anything on a trade or to sell it. Alltech offered us $25,000 as a trade-in, and what Alltech would do is simply take this truck after they gave us a set amount for the trade, and then they would take it to J.J. Kane Auction Service and sell it through the auction. We can go through the auction service as well, which we have used J.J. Kane in the past. Speaking with them, they've come and looked at the truck and the old truck and said that they thought it should bring 28 to 35,000 at an auction. So our plan would be, with your approval, is to issue a purchase order in the amount of $131,285 to Alltech Industries to purchase a 2016 Dodge 5500 41-foot bucket truck equipped with a material handler, and then proceed with selling the current model that we have, a 2008 International. Pursue selling that through the J.J. Kane auction service.
Questions from the commission?
Was this budgeted, planned on, or is it just time?
It has been budgeted, yes, because we have had issues with the truck for a couple of years now.
What's the lifespan, you think, of this?
Pardon me?
Lifespan, how long do you think we'll?
I would like to say 10 years for a truck that's in use every day and often after hours too.
What's the last one we got 8 out of? Was it bought used?
It was bought new. It's actually a larger truck. You see it out around town. It's not one of the crew trucks. It's the big trouble truck.
What year is that one, Mike?
2008.
It's almost 9 years out of it.
Yeah.
I think you ought to let them have it for 25 probably.
It's a risk going to the auction.
Right,
We've
right.
taken it before and actually made out going through J.J. Kane.
I got no problems. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Martin and seconded by Mayor Bauer to approve resolution number R-17-56 for adoption. Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
How many miles was on that truck, Mike?
On the new one?
No, on the old one.
I don't have it in front of me. I apologize. I can get that and email
I
it to
just
you.
wondered. Not there, Bob.
We're going to group the next two resolutions together. Resolution R-17-57, a resolution to execute change order number 8 mechanical installation with 8760 Service Group for the electric utility, and resolution number R-17-58, a resolution to execute change order number 09 mechanical installation with 8760 Service Group for electric utility. Utility Deputy Director Mike Shook will make comments.
Mayor, Commissioners. These two change orders are both deductive change orders. Change Order 8 is a deductive amount of $10,091.60. This is reimbursement to have our fire suppression system certified, which the contractor failed to provide us any documentation that this system was certified, and it includes any legal fees that we, attorneys to hire to help get this accomplished. The second item is in the amount of $447,220.41. This is for assessments of liquidated damages. The mechanical contractor failed to meet scheduled performance dates on the contract, and by contract, we're allowed to assess liquidated damages in the amount of 10% of the maximum contract value.
This time, I'll make a motion to approve resolution number R-17-57 and resolution number R-17-58.
Second.
Motion was made by Mayor Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Martin to approve resolutions number R-17-57 and resolution number R-17-58 for adoption. Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye. This time we move into the city manager's report. Thank you, Mike.
Mike, everything's going good at the power plant, Alfred?
Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah,
Run
is it-
every day.
with the heat and everything?
Yeah.
Actually running both plants a lot of the time.
Oh, wow. It's good to know.
Mayor and Commissioners, a few things to cover. First of all, I'd like to express a thank you to the First United Methodist Vacation Bible School students. They did a community service project for the city. They painted the bleachers that are at Walter Johnson Park around the horseshoe pits, and that was something that did not get accomplished at the last park workday. And so I think they had 5th and 6th grade students that took that on as part of their missions to the city. So we're thankful to Pastor Nicole and their staff. Some updates on the buildings. City Hall is progressing well. Framers have completed framing first floor and have moved to the second floor. And the contractors are working with engineers to reevaluate the stairway that will come from 3rd floor down to 2nd floor to see if we can make it less disruptive to the 3rd floor courtroom. We've met with Judge Collins and explained the project, and he had some concerns, but we're looking at maybe some alterations we can make so that it's less of a disruption to the court services. I would let you know that Framers also, in speaking with them, they expect to probably by the end of this week or early next week have 2nd floor framed, and so we'll start seeing sheetrock take place there in the building. So it is getting closer. It's emergency services, and you can see activity continues on there at a rapid pace. The trusses that have been replaced, the ones that fell over the apparatus bay, they're busy replacing them and are almost complete with that. Obviously, they're sheeting and shingling the roof as they're going, and pretty good progress on that as well. And then if you were to take a tour inside, you'd see that they've roughed the deck out, and they have some HVAC and rough plumbing work is being done in there. And within the next 2 weeks, I believe we'll start seeing some sheetrocking take place on the walls and interior too. So everything is moving along according to schedule on both projects. Just might let you know that we have some board openings. We have a position on the Planning Commission and positions on both the Montgomery County Juvenile Corrections and the Montgomery County Community Corrections boards. This last legislative session, legislation was passed, the regulated amusement park rides. It's the Kansas Amusement Ride Act. This was, some of the unintended consequences, I think, is that it's starting to regulate a lot of things besides large amusement parks. One of the things that is covered in the act is water slides, such as at the Aquatic Center, anything that's over 15 foot tall, and water is used to propel the patron. Sorry about that. As I said, water slides that are over 15 foot tall and water is used to propel patrons through the ride are covered under this act. And so that means that they have to be inspected and certified each year. And just let you know that we have had our slide that would, our water slide at the Aquatic Center would fall under these regulations. It has been inspected, it's passed inspections, and we've applied for our permit. So we should be good to move forward on that. But it's been in the news lately, and a lot of, I've seen some social media chatter about it, but just letting people know that it has been inspected and it's passed.
Good.
So, we got a lot of events coming up here in the near future. Christmas in July at the Aquatic Center will be Saturday the 29th from 5 to 7. It's $1 admission for those 2 hours. It'll be it's a good family getaway. Following will be a week from today, Tuesday, August 1st, is National Night Out. And again, that'll be up there by the Aquatic Center. Be 5:30 to 8:30 and free admission that night for the Aquatic Center. So it'll be a good turnout, and we're hoping for good weather. Also, I need to remind you that there's a retirement reception tomorrow for Ed Rutherford. It'll be from 1 to 3, and it will be at the police department. And also a reminder that
Up there at the hospital, right?
yes, yeah, and then you can stick around and We have our annual joint meeting with CRMC board tomorrow night, be 5:30, and that'll be on the first floor meeting room. So the cafeteria meeting room, I think, is what they refer to it as.
They've changed it?
Well, last year we had it on the fourth floor. This year it will be on the
Oh, I
first
saw
floor.
something about the fourth floor this year.
Well, and
But
I
maybe I
may
read
have
wrong.
given that may have been my original assumption,
Okay.
based on last year, but it will be on the first
You
floor.
said 5:30?
5:30.
Okay.
And they have food, right?
We will have a little food, I believe,
Okay.
yes. So, I'd entertain questions.
Nothing worse than showing up to somewhere that you've eaten already and they've got a free dinner.
I have no comments.
Questions?
I'll make a motion to take a 5-minute break.
Second.
I'll hold my comments.
Sorry?
I did have a comment, but
Oh, sorry.
I'll wait till.
Thanks. I'll call the meeting back to order. At this time, comments from the public. The public is free to comment on items not listed on the agenda. Please address comments to the commission as a body and be mindful of others who may also wish to speak by limiting your comments to 3 minutes.
So as I take the microphone tonight, I'm here to also let the commission know I'm probably going to go over 3 minutes. And if you want to stop me and have him carry me out of here, since you all had him sit next to me to intimidate me in the first place, that's fine. You guys appointed
No,
me.
I didn't have him sit
I-
next to you.
Jim, I know you didn't.
I mean, I don't know that we all colluded to do that, but go ahead.
Jim, I know you didn't.
But go ahead. Go ahead, Bo.
And a lot of what I say tonight, Jim, I want to make it clear it does not apply to you.
Go ahead, Bo.
You guys appointed me to a board over a month ago, and then 2 weeks later put a knife right in my back. And our lying two-bit mayor, Paul Bauer, insists that he invited me to the meeting where they flat out kicked me off the board, and that is not true. Why don't you go ahead and show the entire community your cell phone bill, where it will not show no calls to my phone, and it will not show anything like that on the day you said it would. Otherwise, you have something to hide. This city is ultimately going to fail. This is the last city commission meeting I will ever attend, I can tell you that much. I'm packing up August 11th and I'm out of here. This city is nothing but a failure. You people, Jim, you excluded, you people do not care about anything but yourselves and what's good for yourselves, and it's disgusting.
Bo,
You
I would
don't
ask that you keep the derogatory comments out of the.
Define
out of the-
derogatory, Mayor Bauer.
Exactly what you're speaking to right now, please.
Well, I'll speak exactly how I want to. I'm not here to help your feelings. I'm not here, your feelings do not concern me. Mine clearly don't you, so why should I care about what you have to say, and I don't. So, it's clear this community does not care about at-risk youth. They do not care about the things, the challenges that this community is faced by. It's clear. The majority of this commission, that is. And it's flat out disgusting. You guys sit up here week after week and not a damn thing gets accomplished. And, I encourage everyone who can see me on live TV, live on social media right now, everything else, do not re-elect that mayor. That guy is a crook.
Do we have any other comments from the public that would wish to speak? Seeing none, at this time we'll move into comments from the commission and staff.
I
I have something, but go ahead.
Well, Ken, you said something about a tour of the facility a while ago. You mentioned the word tour, if you did a tour. Would it make any sense to have a tour next time before the meeting, maybe at 6 to 6:30 or 6 to 6:25 or something like that, where the commissioners and maybe the public could view it? Is there anything, I know you'd have to talk to the contractor and make sure they'd be good with it, but I think it'd be interesting. I'd like to see it if we can pull it off.
Yeah, I guess maybe I'd be inclined to give the commission a tour, but if I invite the public, then I'm inviting everybody, and I'm not certain I'm really prepared to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we've done it in the past. I
can't
knew
speak to
it'd be an issue or a question. If we just keep everybody in group, just
And
walk
if-
them here, not go in every room or ever. I didn't know if we could or not.
I think we'd
I
probably
don't
want to
think
avoid
you'd have very
that.
many people there, but go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, I guess like I said, I'd be inclined to show you guys at any time. It wouldn't have to be before the meeting if
Can you do
you,
a video walkthrough?
pardon me?
Could you do a video walkthrough?
I mean, we
That's it.
can.
I like
Yeah,
that
do like a
idea.
live video walkthrough and be something, be kind of interesting, something a little out of the norm.
Out of the box for us?
Mm-hmm,
I guess at what point does it make sense to do that?
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, if you walk over right now, you'll see metal studs, but you
progress.
couldn't, and we put those, I mean, we do update those pictures on Facebook occasionally. The ones that you've seen right now, that's about what it looks like. So to walk through there and video it, you wouldn't be able to really orient yourself as to what things are. Even us, even knowing what the layout is, it's hard just to walk around and really know where we're at.
Just a thought. It'd be
Well,
interesting.
I'll get with you next week and go through it with you.
But,
Later this week or next week, I'll just do that.
either facility, would be able to walk you through it, but also if we're in, a smaller group, then we can provide hard hats and safety equipment that
Okay.
I'm
good with that.
contractors would require that we
I didn't know if
provide.
maybe you'd had some other inquiries, but I'm good with that. That's all I had.
I had something. So Saturday night, Griffin, Walker, and Mario Show put on a comedy act, or had a comedy show at the Windsor Event Center. And I think they said the capacity was roughly 230, 240 people, and I don't think there was an empty seat in there. So I know they brought in a lot of people. There was a lot of mention of outside people coming to Coffeyville to attend this, family members, friends, things like that. So, kudos to those guys. They're making a difference in the community, trying to push it. They're going to try to make this maybe an annual thing, or more than one time a year, or maybe yearly. I don't know what their goals, long-term goals are for it, but I tell you what, it went off without a hitch, and those guys, they did a great job. Putting it together, organizing it, and drawing a full house to the deal. So
Good. Great.
that's the kind of community involvement we need. Get those kind of things going. Didn't ask for anything from us, didn't ask for anything from the city. They drove it all the way to completion, so good for them.
Great.
Yep,
Were you there, Mayor?
I was.
Oh, good, good.
I've been notified at the stadium, there's some trash out there that probably needs picked up. I don't want to say what it is on live TV, but I'll tell you afterwards.
It's my understanding that has been reported to the college.
Okay. So college maintains that, then, not us?
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't quite for sure.
I
Any
got a
other
couple
questions?
things, but I think I'm willing to go last, doesn't matter to me.
Mr. Williams, you got anything?
I think a couple weeks ago, Commissioner Martin said something about the fence at the,
You're talking about what I'm gonna talk about.
well, then I won't say anything.
But, well, I mean, whatever, go ahead.
A couple weeks ago, Commissioner Martin said something about the fence down on South Walnut at the
At the Shell
Shell
Pit.
Pit. My question is when is that gonna be rectified?
I guess I can't give you a time frame. It will be addressed. We're shuffling people from that department to cover some other openings that we have right now. So that department is pretty shorthanded. And when you say the fence, and I'm thinking two. We have the fence that's in the right of way. But then also the barricades, for lack of a better word.
The fence that runs along the, I would call that the southwest side of the Shell Pit, is a pipe fence that is kind of laid over. That is on the railroad right of
It
way.
is,
That
but-
should belong to,
But there is, a little farther to the south of that is another, it's not all pipe fence. There is, it's not barbed wire, but it is some kind of partial wire fence built in there too, and
I think that
but that is railroad right of way.
okay, I think the fence that Commissioner Commissioner Justin
I know
down
you're
there was referring to was the pile of concrete slabs.
Yes.
That,
Heard both.
and I'll just leave it at that. He can take over, because I think he wanted to talk about it, and obviously I was thinking the same thing, but it was kind of his suggestion, so I have nothing further.
I'll just pick up then. I understand shortage of manpower, I get it, I really do. But what is your plan to do down there? I mean, we talked about it probably a month and a half ago or so, and it was the fence along the road, and then we need to come up with something better than the piling up of the essentially road waste. I'm pretty sure it doesn't even meet our own ordinance for blight. What is the plan? What's the,
Our thought was that we would buy concrete barricades, similar to what
Briefly.
outlines the street drags, but
But you
maybe
know-
not quite like that.
worried about the public having access to that? They could just drive around a barricade. I mean, what if somebody's messing around and goes off in there, and then it's liability that we didn't secure our 40-foot drop into a shell pit.
Well, that's what the blocks are doing now, right?
No, there's an opening. The blocks are
Oh,
supposed
there's
to
an opening. The side
hinder
door got
somebody from,
Well, those blocks, you know, I drove by and we haven't talked about it, and I've never talked to anybody about it, but I saw those blocks there and I thought, well, that'll keep a, you know, pretty good sized truck or pickup with a trailer from going down in there, and I thought it was
if you
kind
just
of a
drive
good
in there and
thing.
take a left, you could be right in there.
Right.
And those aren't blocks, those are pieces of concrete they dug
Right.
up out of the highway. So, I mean, it's not.
It's good and heavy.
This is not traditional fence. This is the same debate we had over another kind of a fence. That material does not meet the ordinance for a fence. That is not a fence. That is debris that is stacked up.
Well, and like I said, our plan was to remove that and buy something that would be more traditional concrete blocks to prevent cars from inadvertently veering off the highway and plummeting into the shell pit. But it's those that purposely,
Well-
I mean, I guess it does not
Is
address
the-
anyone purposely going in there.
Is the public allowed right now to go and dump material into that?
No.
What's keeping them from doing that? They can drive right around those blocks or any future blocks if there's not any kind of a gate.
We haven't had any problems with it, have we?
But what if we do?
We haven't got any.
Yeah,
How do we know we don't in the middle of the night, somebody down there dumping stuff?
right.
It just seems like it's a real easy fix. We're talking about some pipe and a couple of holes, some concrete, and you put up a
Okay, because it wasn't my
12-foot fence.
understanding that that was a concern. My understanding was the concern of what the current thing looks like, but
This
still
thing-
having something that would prevent
This has
people
been going
from-
on since before you was here. I've been talking about
Yeah,
this
but
since
but I meant in our last
2014.
discussion, I didn't realize that you wanted something more permanent that would prevent anyone from just driving in there.
I guess maybe I should have been more clear, but that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking
Okay.
about something that prevents somebody from going in there. If they can't dump anything in there, they're gonna get in there if they want to. Now that we're talking about, hell, there's probably gonna be all kinds of stuff.
Well, we
dumped
could
in
put a
there.
cable across there too.
Cable,
Yeah.
whatever, something just
Yeah, I
to
mean, it doesn't
prevent
have to
people
be
from
anything
pulling
else.
in there.
Okay.
Pretty
Blocks
something
and
pretty
cable.
simple, replace it with the blocks so that.
That doesn't
we
look
meet what-
horrible.
We're our own standard, right?
But,
Yeah.
okay, now I do need some clarification. If we put a gate across there or a cable,
Mm-hmm.
then do we need blocks surrounding to keep a car from
Could you not-
crashing through it and into it?
Could you not do a combination of both? Put blocks in there, then build you a gate?
We can, that's what, like I said, I want some kind of real clarification.
In
what
my
you
mind,
want.
that's what I see.
Yeah, because I think, just like Jim alluded to, I mean, even a wire, just one of those big heavy wires that has a sign on it.
I'd be
just
completely
lock it
fine
over
with the
there in
wire.
place. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
but
Cable.
only that?
Cable, that's
I
what I
mean,
meant.
would you be fine with only that, or do you want additionally blocks that were gonna keep up, I don't know, something from, if they were to veer off?
Well. just a
Guys,
little-
I gotta,
I think we're
jump
way
in there.
overcomplicating this. It-
I like those blocks there myself, because there's semis running down through there, 80,000 pound, 100,000 pound semis. Car pulls out front, they weave off, it might keep a semi from going up in there.
Well, I don't have a problem with concrete
I have a lot of
barriers.
people in the back of it.
We're not meeting our own ordinance, Jim.
I
We
understand. I'm
jumped
not
all
too
over,
worried about it.
we
You
jumped
guys-
all over somebody else for
Well,
having a
You made
bad
that
fence.
ordinance, and I went along with it, but.
Okay.
I mean, you know what I'm saying, I think nobody's complaining about it.
I would like to have a combination of blocks and some kind of a gate. I don't care what kind of a gate it is, a wire, cable gate is fine with me. I would like to have a combination. I'm one of 5.
But wait a minute, on that, back to that, with all due respect, I don't think that thing's really a fence. I don't think it's really in violation. The concrete piled up, that's some kind of a landfill, I guess you call it. Maybe that's the wrong word.
Well, it's a barrier.
It's a barrier, but also it's a pit. So it's a little
It's a
different.
barrier to keep it from the pit, yes, Jim.
But the whole property, I think you can put anything you want on there, not be in violation of.
Shouldn't we try to live within the spirit of our own
I
ordinances?
think we are living within the spirit.
Okay,
you know?
well, the other thing I want to talk about.
I mean, it just
was,
costs a lot of money to move all that stuff. It costs, a couple $1,000s to labor, and I thought it was a pretty good idea when I saw the wall. I just want you to know, I thought the wall was a pretty good idea. And I'm not saying this to go against you, I just like the wall, because semis are running down through there.
And we can come up with something similar that is a little bit more
Aesthetically pleasing?
pleasing.
Right. I agree. I think the wall is a good thing right there.
You might want to just lower it a little bit too, and then put some barricades in front of
Something
it.
that doesn't have jagged edges on the bottom and stacked together. But just make it look.
I'd also like to continue, Chris, was you going to talk about the wall?
I did not mean to spirit this debate about these walls and bricks. And I just simply was trying to provoke the conversation. My thought is, I was just hoping to have something that looked a little better than stacked concrete. I did not want to get into a concrete wall debate. I just wanted to.
I also wanted to add to the conversation earlier about the dumpsters behind the businesses on 9th Street, the south side. It's kind of a unique situation. Other businesses downtown most of them have alleys with little nooks where, the trash cans go, and that's a unique situation where the buildings were wiped out. So I understand what they're attempting to do. They're trying to get their trash can as close to their facility as possible. But with the situation with the trash trucks tearing it up, and let's be honest, it looks horrible. If you'll notice that down the street, the bank has I don't know what you want to call it, a wall. It's something to hide the trash can, or at the very least, it tells the trash guy where to pick it up and put it back down. Now, I know the businesses aren't necessarily responsible for the haphazard way them trash cans back. That's just a trash man, picks it up and drops it. He don't care. There's no place to tell him this is where it's supposed to go. I would like to see something said that you're going to move your trash cans to the far south side. That way that trash truck is running in one area and not destroying everything. And also put some kind of a wall up around it. I don't know. You can buy panels of privacy fence at Lowe's, already pre-made. I'm sure we'd have to have some way to attach it to the asphalt. I mean, that's something the city would have to be involved in, I'm sure. But it's not appealing when local entities and groups put on events downtown, and the main parking lot is the area where there's 8 to 10 random trash cans with a lot of nasty appearance coming out of them, and they don't smell good. They tear up the parking lot. To me, it seems like they should be more uniform on the south side of the parking lot. That's my opinion on that. That is all I've got to talk about for now.
The only thing that I did want to bring up just on TV was what you and I texted about earlier today was
South Walnut.
doing something with the tracks on South Walnut. Right by Taylor's building right there. It is, those things are in bad shape right through there. I mean,
I
right
thought.
down over here on where,
Willow?
yeah, on Willow. Did I say Walnut? I meant up Willow, sorry.
Okay, see, I thought you meant, earlier you said South Walnut.
I meant Willow, I apologize.
Okay.
The Willow tracks, they are terrible.
That's the ones that go past the flour mill.
No, they're a block over.
When it goes past Jim's.
Next
Oh,
to
the old
Jim's building,
wholesale,
right- Yeah,
the old
you
grocery
turn the
wholesale.
dollar
Okay.
at the donut shop, Donut Palace, and go go south from there, man, those tracks are in really bad shape. And I can only imagine what the people that are coming from other areas into Acme and things like that, if they're taking that street, I mean, they've got to be just destroying their vehicles.
Okay, because my reply was in regards to future project there on Walnut Street.
Yeah, and I know they periodically fix that, and I know that, I'm sure they just have a certain time that this is what we do every so often, right? I mean, it's probably, it fixes.
They tell you that they have it contracted and it's budget and those
Right.
things, but we can reach out to them
Yeah.
and see what they can do to.
Yeah, Willow and I can't remember what the next street down is, and I know it's probably not as heavily traveled, but, there's a lot of truck traffic that goes through there, so I can only imagine what that one looks like too, so yeah, I'm sure it's not in any better shape, and I haven't driven down it, but.
And as work gets done there, it will probably bypass some semis.
Yeah.
It's kind of the bypass for that
Right.
area too, so.
Anyway, I didn't know if that was on us or on Watco, but I think we need to definitely have some discussion about
It
with
would
them.
be on Watco.
Okay.
I
I
think,
know
one other thing, I think that, and I don't want to go through nitpicking everything, but I think listening to this conversation during commissioner comments, I think staff should pay particular attention that this commission is very concerned about the appearance of our city. And we hold our citizens accountable as much as we can for the appearance of their property. And it would be, in my opinion, the best interest of the city to uphold themselves to the same standards that we uphold our citizens to. And I think that on some instances, we do very good. On other instances, we don't do as well. And I think that that's probably a priority for the city manager in the coming months, is to rein those things in and make sure that those things that we're not doing as well on maintaining our end of the bargain as far as keeping our stuff up and the way that it looks. I'm sure that you'll handle it because you always do. And we appreciate that. Thank you.
You know, it is a budget issue. I mean, we're always, how many times have we talked about this, Chris?
The thing is it's not a budget issue, Jim, just simply to cut the grass that the city owns. It's not a budget issue. It's not a budget issue that the sidewalks that the city owns are maintained, and that the grass that the city owns, that they, we can go on and on and on.
I know.
And the thing is if it's a budget issue, then, and I can make a pretty good argument that if someone else in this county can do it, why can't we? Because somebody else in this county is doing it.
Well, it might be because we.
And there's no names.
It might be because our sales tax is down and.
These
our
citizens that
business
get
is down. I wanna
violations, they
see it
don't get
done.
to say it's a budget issue and we violate them. It's the law, they get cited for it, and we're not upholding the same deal.
Well, as you know, guys, I have been a little softer on that than you have
So,
because of,
and we're not
That,
talking
but-
about we're talking about our own issues.
well, let's make a list of them and maybe drive around with the city manager and make a list and see what we can do.
We can do that.
Any other questions from the commission?
No, sir.
I move to adjourn our meeting.
Second.
Is this
Yeah.
All in favor? Aye.